Once the routing Trojans, fleeing from the bloodlusting Achilles, reach the river Scamander, called Xanthus by the gods. They are split in two by the son of Peleus. Half the Trojans continue fleeing toward Troy, but the other half are caught in the river, floundering, stuck like livestock in the rapids and whirlpools. Achilles, with only his sword in hand, jumps into the river and starts slaughtering Trojans. Once Achilles' sword arm becomes weary from the killing, he begins to drag young Trojans from the river Scamander, 12 in all, whose hands are lashed together. Achilles sends the captives back to the ships with a command. Achilles then finds a son of Priam clambering out of the river named Lachaon. Earlier in the war, Achilles had captured Lachaon and sold him as a slave. Now, Lachaon begs for his life again, but this time, Achilles is not so forgiving. Fool! Don't talk to me of ransom. No more speeches. Before Patroclus met his day of destiny, true, it warmed my heart a bit to spare some Trojans. Droves I took alive and auctioned off as slaves. But now not a single Trojan flees his death. Not one the gods hand over to me before your gates. None of all the Trojans, sons of Priam, least of all. Come, friend, you too must die. Why moan about it so? Even Patroclus died, a far, far better man than you. And look, you see how handsome and powerful I am, the son of a great man, the mother who gave me life, a deathless goddess. But even for me, I tell you, death and the strong force of fate are waiting. There will come a dawn or sunset or high noon when a man will take my life in battle too, flinging a spear perhaps, or whipping a deadly arrow off his bow. And Achilles butchers the Trojan on his knees in supplication, then tosses the body into the river. Achilles cries out to the dead Lachaon, "There! Lie there! Make your bed with the fishes now. They'll dress your wound and lick it clean of blood. So much for your last rites. Nor will your mother lay your corpse on a bier and mourn her darling son. Whirling Scamander will roll you down the sea's broad bosom. And many a fish, leaping up through the waves, breaking the cold ripples, shivering dark, will dart and bolt Lachaon's glistening fat. Die, Trojans, die, till I butcher all the way to sacred Troy. Run headlong on, I'll hack you from behind. Nothing can save you now, not even your silver whirling, mighty tiding river. Not for all the bulls you've slaughtered to it for years, the rearing stallions drowned alive in its eddies. Die! Even so, writhing in death, till all you Trojans pay for Patroclus' blood and the carnage of Achaeans killed by the racing ships when I was out of action. Achilles goes on killing and killing until the river Xanthus itself rises in its fury. Stop, Achilles, greater than any man on earth! greater in outrage too, for the gods themselves are always at your side. But if Zeus allows you to kill off all the Trojans, drive them out of my depths at least, I ask you, out on the plain and do your butchery there. All my lovely rapids are crammed with corpses now, no channel in sight to sweep my currents out to sacred sea. I'm choked with corpses, and still you slaughter more. You blot out more. Leave me alone. Have done, captain of armies. I am filled with horror. And Achilles stops to answer Xanthus. So be it, Scamander, sprung of Zeus, as you command. But I won't stop killing these overweening Trojans, not till I've packed them in their walls and tested Hector, strength against strength. He kills me, or I kill him. As Achilles goes on fighting, the river calls up to Apollo. Disgrace, god of the silver bow and born of Zeus, you throw to the winds the will of Cronos' son. Time and again Zeus gave you strict commands. Stand by the Trojan ranks and save their lives till the sun goes down at last and darkness shrouds the plowlands ripe with grain. When Achilles hears this, he plunges back into the river to fight the god himself. Xanthus, however, fights back and nearly obliterates Achilles. Just as the son of Peleus is about to be overtaken by the river, he calls out to the gods for help. Father Zeus, to think in all my misery not one god can bring himself to rescue me from this river, then I'd face any fate, and no god on high, none is to blame so much as my dear mother. How she lied, she beguiled me, she promised me I'd die beneath the walls of the armored Trojans, cut down in blood by Apollo's whipping arrows. I wish Hector had killed me, the best man bred in Troy. The killer, a hero then, and a hero too, the man whose corpse he stripped. Now look what a wretched death I'm doomed to suffer, trapped in this monstrous river like some boy, some pig boy swept away, trying to ford a winter torrent in a storm. Poseidon and Athena come to Achilles and reassure him that the gods are on his side. The fight rages on between the river and the hero. Once again, Achilles is about to be overcome when Hera sees this and cries out to her son, Hephaestus, the famous smith. To arms, my child, god of the crooked legs! You are the one we'd thought a worthy match for the whirling river Xanthus. Quick, rescue Achilles! Explode in a burst of fire! I'll drive the west and south winds white with clouds and sweep in from the open sea a tearing gale to sear the Trojan bodies and gear and spread your lethal flames. And you make for the Xanthus banks and burn the trees, hurl the stream itself into conflagration. Not for a moment let him turn you back with his winning words or threats. Never abate your fury, not till I loose my shout, then halt your withering fire. And Hephaestus launched his grim, inhuman blaze. First he shot into flames and burned the plain, ignited hordes of corpses, squads Achilles slaughtered. He scorched the whole plain, and the shining river shrank. Hard as the autumn north wind hits a leveled field, just drenched in a downpour, quickly dries it off, and the farmer is glad and starts to till his soil. So the whole plain was parched, and the god of fire devoured all the dead. Then blazing in all his glory, veered for the river. An inferno. The elms burned, the willows and tamarisks burned, and the lotus burned, and the galingale, and reeds and rushes. All that flourished along the running river's lush banks, and the eels writhed, and the fish in the whirlpools leapt high, breaking the surface left and right in a sheen of fire, gasping under the master smith Hephaestus' blast. And now the river's strength was burning out. He panted the god's name. Hephaestus! Stop! Not a single god can stand against you. No, not I. I can't fight such fire, such fury. Hold your attack. Stop! Brilliant Achilles can drive them out of Ilium now. What's this war to me? Why should I help Troy? Xanthus continues to suffer, being burned by Hephaestus, until he calls out to Hera. Oh, Hera, why? Why does your son attack me, whip my waters more than all the others? Why? What have I done to you? Nothing besides those other powers, all who rush to defend the Trojan armies. Oh, I'll stop, if that is your command. But let your son stop too. I'll swear, what's more, never to drive the fatal day away from the Trojans, not even when all Troy burns in the ramping flames, when the warring sons of Achaea burn her down. Hera hears the river and commands Hephaestus to stop his blaze. Hephaestus does so, and the river quits the fight. The gods on each side of the struggle start fighting with each other in rather a childish manner. And now, as the powers wrangled back and forth, the Lord God Apollo entered holy Troy, filled with dread for the city's sturdy walls. What if the Argive forces stormed them down today, against the will of fate? The rest of the gods who live forever soon returned to Mount Olympus, some enraged, some in their proud, new-won glory, and sat beside the Father, king of the black cloud. But Achilles slaughtered on and on, never pausing, killing Trojans and skittish battle teams at once. As smoke goes towering into the broad vaulting sky from a burning town, and the gods' wrath drives it on, dealing struggle to all, to many searing grief. So Achilles dealt the Trojans struggle, grief. But there on the god-built heights stood aged Priam. He saw the monstrous Achilles, and racing on before him, Trojans whipped in headlong flight, all rescue gone. The king cried out and clambered down to ground from the high tower, issuing quick commands to veteran gateway guards beside the walls. Spread the great gates wide, all hands now, till our routed troops can straggle back to Troy. Achilles, swarms over them. They're stampeding. A terrible mauling's coming. I can see it now. Once they've packed in the walls and catch their breath, close the thick-set gates and bolt them tight again. I dread this murderous man. He'll burst right through our walls. They spread the gates and rammed the door bars back, and the spreading gates made way for a ray of hope as Phoebus Apollo hurled forth to meet Achilles to fight disaster off the Trojan troops. Heading straight for the city's lofty ramparts, ragged with thirst, choked with dust from the plain, they fled as Achilles stormed them, shaking his spear, that wild, rabid frenzy, always gripping his heart, blazing to seize his glory. And then and there the Achaeans would have taken the lofty gates of Troy if Apollo had not driven Prince Agenor at them, Antenor's son, a courageous, rugged soldier. He inspired his heart with daring, standing near, in person to beat away the dragging fates of death, leaning against an oak, concealed in swirls of mist. And now, as soon as Agenor saw Achilles coming, there he stood, poised for the scourge of cities, while the heart inside him heaved like heavy seas. Waiting, tense, he probed his own brave spirit. Ah, dear God, if I run from Achilles' onslaught, taking the route the rest have fled, stampeding, he'll catch me even so, and slash my coward's throat. But if I leave my comrades panicked before his charge, this Prince Achilles, slip away from the wall on foot, and race the other way out to Ilium's plain and reach the spurs of Ida, hide in the underbrush, and then, in the dying light, once I've washed my sweat away in the river, yes, I just might make it back to Troy. But why debate, my friend? Why thrash things out? God forbid that Achilles sees me turning tail, heading from town and out to open country. He'll come after me full tilt and run me down. And then no way to escape my death, my certain doom. Achilles is far too strong for any man on earth. Wait, what if I face him out before the walls? Surely his body can be pierced by bronze, even his. He has only one life, and people say he's mortal. It's only the son of Kronos handing him the glory. Filled with resolve, he braced, waiting Achilles, his warrior blood incensed. He'd fight to the death as a panther springs forth from her thicket lair to stand and face the huntsman. No fear in her heart, no thought of flight when she hears the baying packs. And even if he's too quick with spear or lunging sword, even if she's run through, she never slacks her fury until she's charged him hard or gone down fighting. And so the noble son of Antenor, brave Agenor, would never run until he tested Achilles. He steadied his balanced shield before his chest, aimed his spear at the man, and flung this challenge. Surely you must have hoped with all your heart, the great glorious Achilles, that you would raise the proud Trojan city this very day? You fool! You still have plenty of pain to suffer for her sake. We have fighting men by the hundreds still inside her, forming a wall before our loving parents, wives and sons, to defend Troy, where you rush on to meet your doom, headlong man as you are, breakneck man of war. And he hurled his sharp spear from a strong hand, a hard true hit on Achilles' shin below the knee. But the tin of the fire-new armor round his leg let loose an unearthly ring. Back the spear sprang from the wondrous gear it struck, not punching through. The gift of the god Hephaestus blocked its force. Achilles next, he leapt at Prince Agenor, but Phoebus refused to let him seize the glory. He whisked Agenor off, wrapped in swirls of mist, and sped him out of the fighting safely on his way, and then with trickery kept Achilles off the Trojans. True, just like Agenor, head to foot the deadly archer stood in Achilles' path, and Achilles sprang in chase, feet racing, coursing him far across the wheat fields, heading him out toward Scamander's whirling depths, as the god led him a little, luring him on and on, always hoping to catch the god with bursts of speed. But all the while the rest of the Trojans fled in mass, thrilled to reach the ramparts, crowding, swarming in, no daring left to remain outside the city walls and wait for each other, learn who made it through, who died in battle. No, in a driving rout they came, streaming into Troy, any fighter whose racing legs could save his life.